So it's that time of year where we start to, well, many people probably booked holidays earlier, but a lot of people probably undecided where to go. We're going to look at some research around, I stand corrected, but my understanding is based on research that half of Brits haven't booked in their holidays yet. And we have travel blogger and broadcaster Lisa Francesca Nand to give us the rundown on the research. Lisa, welcome to the show. Great to have you on board.
Thank you very much for having me.
So what can you tell us, Lisa, about the booking a holiday?
Yeah, some really interesting stats and destinations and other things being revealed by this survey. It's a report by Skyscanner, who've launched the Smarter Summer Report, which basically helps us find the cheapest times, alternative destinations. Some of them are very interesting, when and where people are booking, how they're booking, and all sorts of experts' tips. So they did find that 76% of us, of UK travellers, are looking to take more holiday this summer, compared to last year, and that 29% reported that actually getting into the holiday mood earlier this summer, so thinking about where you're booking, planning it, dreaming of it, is a massive part of it and makes them more productive. And 86% of people saying that they want to maximize their summer holiday. So by maximizing it, we're talking about finding ways that you can stretch your budget further, finding different times of year you can go, and staying flexible with the dates and exploring alternative destinations.
No, absolutely. And I mean, while I'm sort of speaking to you there, Lisa, I could actually do a tip from you, to be fair. I'm looking to book myself, actually, and this might be sort of relevant to many of our listeners. I don't know some listeners, but I suppose this is maybe a real life scenario where at the moment I have a football team. It's called Napoli in Italy, and I sort of go there annually for Easter. But this year it looks like they're going to win the league, possibly. I don't want to jinx it. And I want to be there, if possible, for when they win the league, because it's going to be an incredible atmosphere. What should I do in terms of getting my worry is now that I didn't book it earlier when I could have got it cheaper on maybe Skyscanner. And now I'm sort of panicking, thinking it's going to cost me a lot more because there's a realistic chance it's going to happen. What can I do, Lisa? Should I get on it quick and just, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think with anything like that, when you know you're going to an event, and forgive me for not knowing much about Napoli's football team, but if it's going to be a popular thing that a lot of people are going over there for, flights are going to be more expensive. They just are. So I think if you really know you want to go, you've got a passion for it, just swallow the money. It's not going to make a massive difference. If it's not going to mean you can't feed your family or pay your electricity bill, just go and do it. And yeah, book it as soon as possible, because it's probably not going to get any cheaper. If you're going generally to Napoli and not thinking about, actually going for that particular weekend, then there's all sorts of things you can do to stretch your budget. You can go at different times of year. Skyscanner have pinpointed the shoulder season, which is basically June and September, which is on either side of the very peak season there. Stay flexible with days of the week. Apparently Saturday is a very good day to go, and explore alternative destinations. Of course, that doesn't help you when you want to go to Napoli for a specific event, so just do it. That's what I'd say. Travel is too important, and that's something we've found, like, since the pandemic and everything closed down. People are, despite the cost of living crisis and mortgages, rents, food being very expensive, people are absolutely prioritizing travel because they've realized how much it means to us.
No, absolutely. And I must admit, a couple of years ago, when they did win a title, I sort of booked early and got a really good deal, got a really great hotel by the bay. And the value definitely in sort of, booking early, and the experience, like sometimes you don't know when an experience like that's going to happen again. And absolutely, it's not easy financially, these days. But in saying that, some of these experiences, Lisa, they're priceless. I mean, what price can you put on an experience that sort of stays with you forever,
I absolutely get that. I've been to a couple of Euros myself. I'm not a massive football fan, but I've been to a couple of Euros. I've been to the World Cup in Berlin. And I just think it's the most amazing experience to be surrounded by people who are out there enjoying themselves, fan zones, just an incredible atmosphere. So whilst I don't know much about Napoli itself as a team, I totally get that buzz. It's a wonderful thing. And a lot of people do travel for football, don't they? And sporting events and concerts, people travel for all sorts of different reasons. And that when I'm on TV and radio talking about like, flight cancellations and things like that. The general advice is, oh, you can get the next flight. But of course, the next flight might mean you miss the football or the concert or the wedding or the birthday or, the party or things like that. So people do travel for all sorts of different reasons. And sport travel is well up there in one of the most popular things to do.
No, absolutely. And I must admit as well, Lisa, I do enjoy traveling within the UK as well myself. I mean, I sort of can just sort of get in the car or train or wherever. There's a lot of beautiful places in the UK to go as well, and especially obviously the weather this week's been nice as well. But I think on the other side of things too, I mentioned there's sort of a football trip, but yeah, if you go abroad for a football trip, it's also the other things as well. It's the atmosphere too that comes with it as well, and it's not just about the sort of game itself. It's about the vibe, the atmosphere, the buzz. Like you mentioned there, Berlin. I went to Berlin as well all those years ago, and that was a great experience. It was incredible, really. But in terms of yourself, with your experience, I mean, I always like to try new places too. I mean, they're places I do like to go regularly. For one reason or the other, I do like to go to a few places regularly for family reasons and other things like that. But there are times I like to explore new cultures and really immerse myself. And have you got maybe any tips, at least for anyone listening, or someone like myself who likes to try somewhere new to go that's not too far away, that's accessible?
Well, I think because price is quite an issue for a lot of people these days. One thing that I genuinely do when I'm looking to get a weekend away, and I went on a weekend away every month last year except for February. So I went to some really lovely places. But I do genuinely look at Skyscanner's feature where you get on to everywhere. So search for your local airport and then use the everywhere option. And that will give you the cheapest places to go. And some of the, in this report, some of the places that they found, I've never even heard of, such as Ouarzazate, which is in Morocco. It's spelt with an OU if you want to look it up, OUA and the rest of it. And that's like it's called the Gateway to the Desert, and it's where they have filmed a lot of movies like Lawrence of Arabia. Games of Thrones was filmed there, so you can picture exactly what that looks like. A beautiful sort of the gateway to the desert sounds lovely, and you can get a flight there for like 28 quid. And I feel that we forget how lucky we are in the UK that we have access to all these incredible places for just a very, very cheap amount. There's other countries that, feel incredibly envious of us, like my Australian cousins, for example. They can't believe we can just hop on a plane relatively cheaply and go to all these, amazing places. And really, in real terms, they haven't gone up in the last 25 years. Obviously, at peak periods, things are more expensive. But if you're looking outside those, there's so many amazing, amazing little places to go to. And we are incredibly lucky.
No, absolutely. I agree. That's one thing I like about England as well myself, to be honest. It's like you can just get on a plane within 2 hours. You just at so many different destinations, and it's it is amazing for that, I think. And I think that I was sort of jotting that down. Just sort of just can you remind me and the listeners with that EasyJet, what feature that was? It's not easy. I said it's a Skyscanner feature. Sorry, did you say, Lisa? What do you do on Sky?
Yeah. You go in, and I use this all the time. So go to skyscanner.net and put in your airport that you want to go from. And then instead of a destination, there's a little toggle that you go down and you can put everywhere. And it comes up and it's in country order, and it will come up in like, sort of Italy, France, Spain, with usually in price order as well. So you can choose the cheapest. And some of the places you might not have heard of, and that's what budget airlines have done for us. They've made us go to places that we wouldn't go to before, and they're wonderful, exploring places that are very sort of off the beaten track, not those good old faithfuls, which are still popular too for a reason, but many different locations. So everywhere, just search everywhere, and it's a great little feature.
Yeah, no, definitely, absolutely. I'll definitely sort of check that one out for sure. I mean, it's great that if a bargain comes up, and it's always good to sort of try, and sort of like you mentioned there. I mean, it's so many interesting things about so many places that it's fascinating. You mentioned obviously Morocco there, and there's so many places really. And I suppose just from your perspective, at least obviously you've done a lot of travel and that sort of stuff, and is there anywhere specific that I know everyone's different, it might not be for somebody else, but just any sort of tips in terms of any you mentioned Morocco there, is any sort of other tips sort of that you could mention to people maybe have a look?
I've got a really interesting one because people always ask me about cheaper destinations. I'm going to tell you one that I've been to and I'm not massively a fan, and one that I haven't been to that I'm hearing a lot about. So people talk about Bulgaria because in Bulgaria you can go
Mm,
to cities, you can go to the beach, and you can also go for amazing skiing. I haven't been skiing there, but I have been to the cities, and yeah, it's okay. There's other countries I like better, but it's lovely to explore somewhere different, and it is very cheap. I'm hearing an awful lot about Albania at the moment. People are going
mm.
on about Albania. Apparently, they've got beautiful beaches, great food. I've had some Albanian wines when I've been given some by the tourism board at the World Travel Market, and I'm hearing lots of people talking about it suddenly. And it obviously the tourism board are doing a great job of promoting it, but it sounds like a really interesting place to go. But in these most popular destinations on the list of Skyscanner places, there's also Eindhoven, which I've been to before. It's a lovely little town, city in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Netherlands. Poprad in Slovakia, Trieste in Italy, instead of going
yeah.
to Florence or Venice or Rome, so many places to explore.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's a great point as well. I think in terms of sometimes if you go to places that are less touristy, you get a really, good feel, the atmosphere, sort of, the sort of that local atmosphere, really. And I mean, there are so many places to sort of check out, that's for sure. And I suppose, it's not easy. And that's the value, I suppose, at least in sort of booking early, deciding, where you want to go and sort of what price can you put on visiting as many places you possibly can in this lifetime. But it's been fascinating sort of speaking to you. I'll definitely, if I've taken one key takeaway is the everywhere thing. I'm going to check that on
Yeah, you'll
Skyscanner.
love it. You'll love it. Honestly, you can spend hours on it. And part of travel is the planning and the dreaming, isn't it? It's really
It is
a big
absolutely
part.
100%. 100%. Yeah. I love that, the buzz of looking, and especially when it's something new. I mean, for various reasons, I like to go to certain places regularly for family and other stuff. But the other side to it too, I really love to explore, new places I've never been before and just learn about cultures, about food, about people. It's just an incredible experience when you sort of go to some place, you talk to people, the locals there, and there's so much to sort of learn and so many sights to see and that sort of stuff. It's incredible experience. And I think planning just makes it so much easier,
Yeah.
Lisa. It really,
And
really
doesn't it
does.
just give you a buzz? We're talking about travel now. It makes me feel happy inside, even, but it's like buying a lottery ticket. When you start to plan your travel, you start to dream about what might can be. But of course, with travel, it's a reality. Not saying you're not going to win the lottery, but with travel, when you're actually actively going to book something, that dream can become a reality. That's what I love.
Absolutely. And I think speaking to you there as well, it kind of reinforces that, yeah, obviously we are in sort of, difficult financial times, but there are deals to be had. I mean, it's like there are, like offers there, like you've mentioned there, flights for, if you sort of book early and get an everywhere flight somewhere, then it is generally affordable to be able to go somewhere. And I think just that in itself, at least just to sort of get away from it all. There's nothing better than I like to sort of get away from all the sort of news, that all that sort of stuff that goes on in the world type thing. Just lose myself somewhere in that moment, to be fair. And that kind of makes it realistic as well. It's not like a pipe dream where it's going to cost you. Obviously, people can afford thousands of pounds, but you can do it, on a relatively decent budget as well. I think, which is sort of an important takeaway as well.
You can absolutely. It can be done. Just look for those shoulder seasons. So in June and even early July, look for September. Use the everywhere feature on Skyscanner and just be flexible and open-minded and see how you get on.
Brilliant. Thanks for your time, Lisa, and I
Thank
wish you
you.
happy travels as well. Thank you.